Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Nori Irdina and I am from Section 2, which is under Dr. Ashari. Today I'm going to explain the coding part that I did in our project. My group members are Nur Alia Shakila and Nur Hadira Munawara. And for the project, we designed a McDonald's salary system, which is to calculate the employees' monthly or weekly salary. So my task in this project is to write the main class. So the first thing that I did in main class is I opened an input file which has the name employees.txt. So this is how the input file looks like. It contains the name of the employee and the employee ID for each of the workers. Next, I declared int choice, int n, which will be used later. Next, I declared some array objects. This one is a string array named list. This one is a class person array named p. This one is salary class array named s. This one is position class array named posi. This one is for the employee class named e. This one is for the part-time named pt, and this one is for the full-time class named ft. And all of these array have the size max. So we have already declared the we have already defined max as 1000, so that the maximum number of employees will be 1000. So after that, I declared int count 0, and then this one is to store the number of employees, which is located at the first line in the input file. So here we can see that the number of employees is 37. So inp n, so n is the number of employee, and then this one is for the compiler to read every line in the input file. So the compiler will read every line until the end of the input file. And then this one I declared int a as 2, because this is for name of the employee. So the first employee's name starts at line 3, so that's why I put it as a equals to 2, because in C++ we always start with 0, so it goes like 0, 1 and 2. So the line number 3 equals to a equals to 2, so that is for name. And int b equals to 3 is for id, because the id start at line 4, so that's why I declared b equals to 3, because it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So the id, so the first employee's id starts at line number 4. So this loop is to set the name and the ID for each employee. So for each line where it starts at line number 3, which is this one will be go to the set name function or method, and the next one will go to the set ID method. And all of these will be stored in the array object, which is employee class, because we can see the name of the array is e, and we can see that we use e and the index here. So for after we set the name and ID, we plus 3 for each line, so that it goes to the next name and the next ID for the next employee. So next, here we do so it's actually a do while loop. So inside this loop, first we go to the function menu display, which is this one. So when we first run the code, it will display this. So it's actually choices of menu. So users can select either they want to display the employee's position or employee's type or monthly payslip or number of employees. And if they want to exit the program, then they can just choose number 5. So inside this do while loop, after we display the menu, first we ask the user for their choice, and then when they key in the number, we see in it as a choice, which we has declared here just now. It's int choice, so the choice should be an integer. So if choice is not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, then the system will ask the user to choose between number 1 and 5, because we only have 5 choices, so the user must choose between 1 and 5. And then we will go to here again, which is the system will ask the user to key in the number of choice again. Okay, so in here we use a switch case statement. So we have for every choice we have different functions, so we will go through one by one. So if the user choose the first menu, which is to display the employee's position, the system will first ask the user to enter the employee's ID, and then the system will store it as ID, which we has declared here, string ID. And then we use this function num equals to id dot substring 56. So it will store the last character from user ID, which is these two number. So that these two number will be stored as num, which has the type string, and then we declared int no equals to atoy num.cstring, which means that this the last two numbers here will be converted into integer, because we use atoy function here. So first it was a string, and then we use the atoy, so it is now treated as integer. So for example, here is 01, here is 02, here is 03. Okay, so we see our employee number, and then we display the no here, so it will display the last two numbers for every employee. So for example, this is employee number 1, employee number 2, employee number 3, and so on. Next, we see out the name. So we first have to get the index of the employee. So we declare int index here, ind here, equals to number minus 1, because the number of employee actually equals to the last two number here, but then when index in C++, we start with 0. So that is why if this is the first employee, then it is actually the 0th employee in C++. So that's why we have to minus it with 1. So that is why we put ind equals to no minus 1. So this one will be 0, this one will be 1, 2, 3, and so on, because it is indexed. It is like a position for the employees. Next, when we want to see out the name, we put the array that we have declared just now. It's this one. It's under the employee class, and then we go to the get name function. So get name function is right here. We can see that get name, and then So that's it for their name. And then for their ID, we did the same thing, but now we will go to the function get ID. So get ID is under the class, this one, under the class employee. Okay, so next what are we going to do here is that we want to store the employee's ID that we get into a string type of data named code, but we want to get only the third character, which is this one, 0, 1, 2. So it's this one. It's the third character in their ID. So we store them as string code, and then we declare intc, and we convert the code into an integer. So just now this one is a string, but now we convert it into an integer. So next we set code, set code gaji, set position, and set gaji basic using the index of the employee. So when we want to see out the position, we will pass the index to get position. So the code is, okay, for example, this code is 7. So we will go to the get position, which is here. So get position, it will return get post function. So get post is here. It will return post. So post is here. So for example, if it is 7, then it will display the assistant manager. So that's it for the employee position. Next, if the user chose menu number 2, it will display employees type. So first, just like just now, the system will ask the user to enter the employee's ID, and then we will read the index of the employee. It's the last 2 numbers in their ID, so that we can get their index, and we can display the employee number, for example, number 1 or number 2, and then we can get their name, just like in case 1, and then we can get their ID. And then here what's new is we declared intj that convert a string. So it convert the string jawatan into an integer. So what is jawatan? Jawatan is this one, id.substring 1 1. So it's 0 1. So it's the second character in their employee ID. So in this input file, we can see that the second character in employee's ID is either 1 or 2 only. So there is no other number than 1 or 2. So that is string jawatan. So we convert the jawatan into integer, and we store it in integer j. So if j is equals to 1, it is for part-time employees. So if their second character in the employee ID is 1, it means that they are actually a part-time employee. So we will display the type of the employee. So we can see that set type j. So set type is here. So if we pass j as 1, it will see out type equals to part-time, and if j is equals to 2, it will see out type equals to full-time. So that is all actually for case number 2. Next, for case number 3, the system will calculate the employee salary, and as in case number 2 and number 1, we will first ask the user to enter their employee's ID, and we will read the last 2 numbers in their ID so that it will become an index for them. And then we will also declare the jawatan and code just now. It's the second and the third character in their ID, so that we know their position and that we know their type of employee. And then because we want to use the type code again, so if j is equals to 1, meaning if the second character in the employee ID is equals to 1, it is for part-time employees, just like what I explained just now. So the method to calculate the salary for part-time employees and for full-time employees are different, so that is why we need to separate these two. So for part-time employees, it will first display the employee number, name, ID and position, just like before. And then for basic salary, it will go to the get gaji basic, so it is per hour as we can see here. So we go to the function get gaji basic, which is here, get gaji basic. So it will return sal.getGaji. So getGaji is here, getGaji, it will return gaji. So based on the third character in the ID, it will set the basic salary for the employee. So for example, in here we can see that the third character is 7, so its basic salary is 8 ringgit per hour, and so on. And then for part-time employee, we first display their basic salary, which is per hour, and then we will calculate the total weekly salary. So we can see that it passed to cart gaji, so we will go to the function cart gaji, which is this one, cart gaji. So it will calculate the total salary for each week because they are part-time. So first it will ask the total working hours for the, I think this part has been explained by Hadirah. So basically it will calculate the total weekly salary for part-time employees, and then we will display it here. So if j is equals to 2, which is if the second character in the ID is equals to 2, so that means the employee is a full-time employee. So we will display the employee number, name, ID, position, and then we will get the basic salary, just like how we get the basic salary for a part-time worker just now. But this time for full-time employees, we will get the total monthly salary, because for full-time employees, they usually have a fixed number of hours they have to work in a day. So we just calculate that and we total up the monthly salary. So as we can see in calc gaji under full-time class, it calculates the gaji, it times with 8. So it means that they work 8 hours in a day. So this time we ask how many days they work in the month. So for each day we times with 8 because they work a fixed number, which is 8 hours per day, and then we'll just display the total monthly salary for full-time employees. So the menu option number 4, which is display number of employees. So we have several options here. So first, total number of employees, which is both full-time and part-time. This one is number of part-time employees and this one is number of full-time employees. So what we did in case 4 is we did a loop that will go through each line of the input file, and then we will store the second character in the ID as quotes because we want to separate the number of part-time and number of full-time, and then we convert the quotes into integer. So if the second character in the ID is 1, then it means that he or she is a part-time employee, so we increase the number of part-time employee because just now we declared number of part-time and number of full-time is 0. So if the second character in the ID is 2, then we increase the number of full-time employees. So this one we can see that total employee will be increasing no matter if he or she is part-time or full-time, because we want to know the total employee in the McDonald's. Under here we display the total number of employees, which is both part-time and full-time. This one is for part-time employees, so we display NPT just like here, and number of full-time, which is NFT. So as I said just now, this is actually a do while loop. So while choice is not 5, so what happens if the user choose number 5? As we can see in the menu options, number 5 is to exit the program. So if the user choose number 5, then the system will display this program will end, thank you for using the system. So if it's not number 5, then it will go through the chosen case. So after the compiler has compiled the program, we closed the input files. So imp.close, so it will close the input file and we return 0. So that is all in main class, and that is my part in this project. So thank you.